Hello, Hollywood Times viewers. Today we have with us American Idol star, anti-bullying activist Casey McQuillen. Hi, Casey. How you doing? I got her name
Hi.
right.
Yes, you did. You nailed it. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so nice to meet you. We have
Thank
a
you. It's
lot to
lovely to
talk
meet you
about.
too. I know, and I'm a talker too, so we got to get right to it.
Awesome. Well, then I'm gonna just let you talk. I have to tell you though, I watched your video that's on YouTube, the skinny, and
Mhm.
I clicked on it, and it's your this there beautiful and red, and I go, your lips aren't moving, and your song's going. I'm like, wait a minute, what is she doing? It was so cool, and then you just started singing here and there like when you needed to. That was amazing. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. It's a very emotional song for me. And to the listeners that might not know, the title track of my debut album that just came out is a song called Skinny that I wrote about my experience of gaining weight during the pandemic and the stark, obviously I gained weight gradually over the 2 years, but socially it was very stark because I hadn't been socializing. And it was, I went from being what society would consider to be thin to what society would consider to be mid-size or fat. And I had the experience of being treated differently, like change in a social sense overnight. And I went out for the first time vaccinated with my girlfriends to the bar, and obviously I was being treated differently, but I think more problematically I was perceiving myself differently. And I think when I was like trying to talk to guys and it wasn't going well. And, I think about it now and I realize like when I was thin, if I talked to a guy and he didn't seem interested, to protect my ego, I'd probably be like, oh, probably has a girlfriend, or, maybe he doesn't like brunettes. But because I was feeling so insecure about my body, every rejection felt, well, it must be because he thinks I'm too fat. And what was supposed to be this joyous occasion of finally getting to go out to the bars again was a rather upsetting night of watching my thin friends have a blast and get a lot of attention and feeling like I was on the outside of my own life. And the whole time, I remember thinking I would be having such a better time. I would be talking to that guy. I would be dancing if I was just thin. And Monday morning rolled around and I was really, mad at myself. Not only like I was mad that I gained the weight, and then I was mad that I cared that I gained the weight, and like I'm such a bad feminist. Like, what do I care about this? And this is so stupid, and I shouldn't even care. And I was like, it was in like a guilt spiral. And I got into a Zoom meeting with one of my good friends who lives in Nashville that I write a lot of songs with, and we've been friends for like 10 years. And so I was actually just she asked me how my weekend was, and I was telling her about this experience I'd had at the bar and all the conflicting emotions that I had about it. And we talked for like an hour. And when we got to the end of our conversation, I said, what do you want to write about? And she said, I think we got to write a song about this. And we took like direct quotes from what I had said in our conversation and put them in the song. And we wrote the song really, really quickly. And I think that's why the song feels so honest, is I did not sit down to write a song about this. I was like sharing my inner thoughts with a trusted old friend. And I wasn't saying those things with the intention of the world hearing me say them. And so we collected it and put it in this song Skinny. And it is a challenging song. I've written a lot of songs about controversial, complicated topics. But I think this is the first one where I have a song called Beautiful that I wrote when I was like 17 about kind of these same feelings, but more about like wanting to fit in and adhere to beauty standards and how much easier my life would be if I was beautiful. And for 10 years, the response to that song when I would sing it would be, oh my gosh, don't worry, you shouldn't feel that way. You're so beautiful. Because I do adhere to a lot of society's beauty standards. But when I sing the song Skinny, people go, oh my God, you're so brave. They don't tell me, what are you talking about? You're so skinny. They say, wow, you're so brave. I would have never sang that in front of people. And they're saying it with tears in their eyes as they're being really affected by this song. But it's been my first experience, going into interviews and talking about my biggest insecurity over and over and over again. And so when it was time for the song to finally come out, I knew I needed to make like a video, a visual component to introduce the song to my fans. But I didn't know what to do because it was so emotional for me and for the people listening. And so what I decided to do was record myself listening to the song. And I just put the camera up, and I sat there and I listened to it. And that's why you don't see me singing in the beginning, and I sing more towards the song as it goes on. But I wanted to listen with the audience so that they didn't have to listen to it for the first time alone, because it's a very heavy, hard song for some people to hear. And so, funnily enough, it was my first video to go viral on TikTok, was a clip of me listening to it, because I think there was something really honest about the fact that I wasn't attempting to perform the song. I was just sitting with the song and with the listener. So I'm very proud of the song and the effect that it's had on people. But it doesn't make it any easier sometimes to talk about stuff that can be, sometimes I feel insecure about.
Yeah, it's just I listened to it, and by the time I was done, I was crying. I'm crying right now. Because we
God,
we call it COVID weight. We all laugh about it, but my boyfriend and I, we say that, and it's just like I gained like 15 pounds during COVID, and to hear this, it's true, but it's not that easy to take it off. And I look at these diet programs. I go to my doctor, and then they say I'm obese. That hurts, to be told that you're obese, you're 15 pounds overweight, and I'm obese. And it's like, wow, reality, and you're an amazing singer, and you're gonna, all your dreams are going to come true. But after this, you're an amazing producer to think of doing this and putting this together. You go, girl. You're for all
Thank
of
you
us.
so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny. I found that I could go on about this, but the internet's interesting right now. I think there's a lot of manufactured authenticity going on. I think the biggest, something like, my team will say, people say, is like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Like, you're so authentic. And then they'll go, so can you produce 8 authentic things for me right now to put out? And it's like, that's not how actual authenticity works. It's like, it's right? Like, it's actually, if it's really hard to be authentic on a content schedule, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is like, you say like, oh, like what a great producer to come up with like that idea for that video. But like the truth is like, I had never had a video go viral on TikTok. Like I wasn't really trying. I was more thinking about like, I was thinking about the fans I already have and like how I would want them to hear the song for the first time. And like, it's, it can be hard to, I think there's, even with like writing songs like this, there's a lot of pressure to always have another authentic song that's about a timely, topical issue that will be great for press. And it's like, that's not how my insecurities work. Like, I don't have my insecurities on a timeline to match up with album sales. But that's we're currently in a like manufactured selling of your authenticity phase of influencer life, and it's a lot of pressure.
Oh, I can't imagine what you have to go through, but just be strong, because I can tell you're very strong. You're always going to get the message across, and all these young, middle-aged, older women to look up to you, to stand up and give us these songs that mean something to us.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I hope I'll send you a clip of the song so you can throw it at the end or at this part of the of the interview so people can take a listen.
Oh yeah, because for sure it's like I want to just play it on my phone right now because it's just so moving. But I'll start crying more than I already am. So let's talk about your the Skinny was released back on April 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And how's it doing? Is it doing amazing?
Yeah, it's doing great. I mean, I was on tour in Europe with an artist named James Morrison, who's a really big artist in the UK. He's big everywhere, but he's really big in the UK. And we actually we pre-released the album in England,
Oh, wow.
because I was on tour for the end of March through the end of April with James. And it was really exciting because I was the first time I, as an artist, was playing to like 3,000 people a night. That's not something I've had the opportunity to do before. And it was just really amazing, I think, to have my initial experience of the album being out in the world be in person. That like I was meeting people in person and they were like buying my album, the physical copy of my album, and telling me that like they had it in their car and they listened to it going back and forth to work every day and like that kind of stuff. And I think we live in such a metric focused industry that there's all this pressure to like, well, there's this person and they can get you into playlists, but it's like, oh, the listeners are actually robots, but if you don't do it, then other people appear to have more listens than you, but their listens aren't really real, but like it's all the appearance of it, and it's like it's very ugly and calculated and inauthentic. And I think it was really beautiful and healthy for me that when my album was out in the world, I was meeting the people who were crying to Skinny and wanted the album and were listening to my fun songs and quoting my lyrics in my Instagram comments. And like it reminds me that there are actual human beings behind those stream numbers, behind those saves, behind those playlists. And that's why I make the music. I don't make the music to get Spotify numbers. I make the music because there are people behind those Spotify numbers. And that's what I feel very lucky that in today's environment, that's how I kind of like put my album out. So I feel very positively about it.
I'm glad to hear that it's an album because everything's EP, and then I have to try to listen to it, and I don't have any of that stuff. And so I'm always asking my PR people I interview, do they have an actual a CD, a Jewel? And they're like, huh? Yeah, that's what I want because I
I'll
love
have
to
to send
put
you
it in
one.
my I need one. I definitely want one because I love that. I pop it in my car and I go for a drive, and I really focus on listening to it.
I feel like CDs are still my main merch
Yeah,
sale. I think that
cool.
it feels like supporting an artist. That's how it feels. It feels right, right? And
Yes,
so a lot of people buy them that don't have CD players, but they're signed and they're beautiful and they're
yes.
well designed. And like I sell them with like a tote with my logo on it and like an art print that like is the Skinny art print. And like, it's like all these fabulous things. And so I put it all together because I think, when people buy merch, they're really buying it because they're putting their money where their mouth is, that they really feel connected to you. And so, especially with the song being called Skinny, it was important to me to have merch that wasn't just a t-shirt because it's a difficult song to like wear around. Like that's like a heavy topic to
Yeah.
wear around. I thought of making a t-shirt that just said like skinny on it. Like I thought like it'd be funny because like all the people who love the song are people who aren't thin. So it's gonna make like skinny and like double XL, you know what I mean? And be like, who wants it?
Right.
Because that's something I would wear. Like I think that's hilarious.
I want one.
But I'm also exactly, and like there is a lyric in my there's a lyric in the song Skinny that you get to the bridge and it's me reflecting that as much as I say I want to be this person who's thin, that person isn't me. So I don't actually want to be her because I would have to not drink. I'd have to not eat pizza with my friends at 2 in the morning. I'd have to like not go on bachelorettes and have Mexican food and margaritas, like all these things that I do all the time that I love doing. I can't have both. I can't have both. I can't have a body that's unnaturally thin for where I would naturally be and live my life in a healthy, balanced, measured way. Some people get to be really thin and do both. I'm trying to accept that I don't get to do both. Life isn't fair. Only 3% of women naturally have the body type that is portrayed in the media as ideal. So there are 3% of women in the world who don't have to starve themselves, don't have to do yoga 18 times a week, they live a balanced, normal, healthy diet and they look like that. But 97% of women do not have a body type that if they exercise the correct amount, and they eat the balanced diet, and they have one glass of wine for the antioxidants, like all these things, 97% of women, if they had lived a balanced doctor, like prescribed by a doctor, balanced lifestyle, they would not have that body. Which, and by the way, way more than 3% of women have that body. So there are almost all women who have that body are torturing themselves into having it. And then the rest of us feel guilty that we're not committed enough to self-torture to get it. And then there's 3% of people that have it, and they're like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, I just like gave up sugar for Lent and like I lost 10 pounds. And you're like, what? But like, we have so standardized the ideal body that I can't even see. It's like the beauty of my own body has been erased from my eyes because it doesn't look like the one I've been told to want. And that is what I think that's my favorite part of that song, is this like understanding that I can't have it all, and I don't actually want it all. I don't actually want that. I'm not willing to torture myself to have it. But yeah. So anyway, it's I wanted to put on a T-shirt, pizza at 2 a.m. because that's the line, is she doesn't eat pizza at 2 a.m. sitting out on a stoop with her friends. So I wanted to have a T-shirt that said pizza at 2 a.m. skinny. But my mom thought it was too inside. So
Well, maybe
some people would not get it.
Maybe start out with magnets instead, something that's small.
Exactly.
That
A little
really
bit
weary,
easier.
we could put it on our fridge,
Magnets
right?
is a good idea. I like magnets.
I think I'd put it on a magnet.
That's a good idea.
And I have to tell you, I love you after all that little conversation.
I recommend, I think you should get rid of your scale. I don't have a scale.
I don't have
in my
one
house.
anymore. I don't. Yes. I'm like,
the
I feel
idea
good.
that weight correlates to health is not based in science. And and listen, I'm not saying that that's what's challenging, is I'm not fully through this problem, this insecurity. Like, I'm not on the other side of it, but I do things to try to help. Like, for example, something that I tell my followers that I do, and I show them when I do it every season, is when I change my clothes from summer to winter, I try on every piece of clothing in my closet. And if it doesn't fit, you can see I have closets. If it doesn't fit, it goes up there.
Wow.
It doesn't fit, it goes up there. Or I donate it. If I really like it, I'll keep it. That's fine. I get to keep it. But it doesn't get to live in my closet that I look at every day. So when I open up my closet, it is only full of clothes that serve me right now. And listen, it is a very difficult day when I do this. I have to say, I gained weight during the pandemic, and it was the first summer since I gained weight. I did not have a lot of clothes left in the bottom of my closet. I didn't. Right. But they all fit me. And I don't know if people who have gained weight might understand this feeling, but before I started doing this, my closet was like a source of fear. I would look at my closet, and I was so uncertain of what would fit me that I would just wear the same clothes every day. Or for like example, if you're going out on like a Saturday night, that's like, you want to feel great. You're with your girlfriends, you're having a glass of wine, you're going to go to the bar, you're going to talk to boys, right? I would go and put on a dress and it wouldn't fit. And my confidence would collapse. Mm-hmm. Right before, my confidence should be high. I should be having fun. It's Saturday night. And so what I did is, on a Tuesday, I spend all day and I try on every single piece of clothing. And what's funny is, yeah, a lot of stuff doesn't fit. But a lot of stuff does. A lot of stuff I wouldn't have thought would fit me does fit me, and I still can wear. And then when I'm on a Saturday night and I'm packing for a trip, I already took all that pain and put it in one space. And on a day where I was taking care of myself, and I don't have a high pressure day, I'll go to the gym, and I'll make myself a nice dinner, and I'll self-care myself around this painful experience, because it will be painful. But then I save myself 6 months of insecurity and pain. And so it's things like that, throwing out your scale, not asking your mother to not comment on your body anymore. Like things like this. What triggers you? You won't be able to escape the ads on the subway, but you can eliminate some of the giant triggers in your own life to try to get a little bit closer to not hating yourself every day. You know? That's my recommendation.
I'm gonna be going through my closet for a different reason
You
now.
should.
Oh my
You should
gosh.
go you should go through your closet, and then when you go through it, reward yourself with getting like two pieces that currently fit you that are new from your new place, because here's the thing. We all think we're going to lose weight. It's really easy to take clothes in. People avoid buying clothes because they're not at their goal weight. You deserve, your body as it is deserves clothes that fit you right now. Right now, pregnant women do not feel guilty for buying maternity pants.
Right.
Because we don't shame women's bodies for changing when they get pregnant.
True.
But I feel guilty going up in a pant size, right? I feel guilty getting a larger thing. For me, I'm right on I'm like a 12, 14. And so I'm right on the cusp of plus size clothing. And it's complicated because plus size clothing, I almost always have to get taken in a little bit. But normal size, when it's in normal sizes, I'm a very curvy person. Like I have a really exaggerated hourglass shape. And so sometimes they don't fit me right because they were designed to be on a thin person, and then they just make them bigger, like they don't work.
Exactly.
And so it was a big mental barrier for me to find store. I started shopping sometimes at plus size clothing stores.
Yeah.
And then I get them taken, I buy their smallest size and I get them taken in sometimes. And
Smart.
that was a huge mental barrier. I was like, well, isn't this admitting I'm plus size? It's like, babe, the writing's on the wall. Like me not going to the stores that cater to my body type isn't making me thinner. It's just making me miserable. And so it's big things like that. I try to do them all at once, and then they're done. And you can go to therapy and talk about it and cry, and then you can move on.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you're my therapist now. It's like
Oh my
amazing.
God. Well, I'll tell my therapist that. He can charge all of us.
You're so wise. Goodness. What are you going to be like when you're my age? Wow.
Well, here's the thing. Here's another thing. And a lot of these ideas, a lot of these thoughts come from the influencers that I choose to follow. I unfollowed all the Kardashians. I unfollowed Gigi Hadid. I unfollowed these beautiful thin people some of them get work done every fucking week. And I look at them. I am not strong enough to look at them and not feel bad about myself. I can't do it. That's not their responsibility. They can keep posting. Live it, girl. You look great. Walk in Paris Fashion Week. You're getting it done. I see you, I feel bad, so I unfollowed. And then similarly, when I follow fashion bloggers on TikTok, I don't follow size 2 fashion bloggers. I follow size 14 fashion bloggers. And then and they're freaking hot. That's why they're fashion bloggers, is they're freaking gorgeous and beautiful and like a real, like, not like everyone's beautiful. Like, you're really hot and you have my body type. So then I see over and over and over, that person's hot, that person's hot. We are hot, right? And I follow people who speak about the body positivity movement in a productive way so that I am getting reinforced on social media. That's how I found these plus size brands, by the way, that I started shopping on. These mid-size models that I follow that look like me, they shop there. And so that was it. I went and I clicked and I said, okay, I buy now. And now I check the sites. And so that's exactly what I'm saying. It's that we can't control society, and it's like horrible behavior towards women's bodies. But we can try to be a little bit more protective of ourselves on the daily, because on the daily is where you get worn down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I went on my dating profiles and I updated them to have really recent photos of me that show my body.
Yeah.
because I was getting in my head that men were matching with me because they thought I was still skinny. Now, my male friends were like, "What are you talking about? These pictures look like you." Like, but I'm in my head being like, "Well, I was 5 pounds lighter in that photo," and they're like, "What?" Like, they don't see it.
Right,
But
right.
my profile, my dating profile pictures are very updated. And they're a lot of full body pictures because when I go on a date with a man, I want to know he is excited about me walking through the room, not a girl who kind of looks like me but skinnier. I want him to be excited about going out with me. And I've never gotten that feedback on a date because I don't really hide what I look like. But it was my own insecurity. I was talking myself out of going on dates. So, anyway, this has become like a
I know.
Casey is in the body positivity movement episode of this, but I feel very strongly about it. And if you want to
Good.
message me on Instagram, you can message me at Listen to Casey. I love talking about it, and I'll send you all the TikTok people that I follow so you can learn to. It's so much easier to see other people, through a lens of love. It's so much easier, but then it tricks you, and you start seeing yourself that way a little bit.
See, now this was that single's gonna go through the roof
I hope
just
so.
because of this.
I hope so.
Wow, that was like enlightening. I appreciate that.